we're distinguishing between a new and associate and a veteran because that's how it's categorized, but not losing sight of, regardless of whether you're a new associate or a veteran 53 weeks and above, like there's always an opportunity to bonus, especially in the comp side of things. And
welcome back to LA Legends live episode, where Aflac pros sharpen skills, swap stories, and build the LA South market one legend at a time.
And today's episode is one every associate needs to hear, especially if you're in your first year and trying to figure out how to transition from surviving to building a real career. Because there's a huge difference between being a new associate and then becoming a veteran producer.
And we are very excited. The mindset changes, compensation changes, responsibilities change, and we were actually, prior to recording, talking a lot about change. So we have our territory asset analyst for the LA South market and, of course, our rivals, Texas North. We have Miss Lana Klimek here. Lana, thank you for joining us live in our huddle room. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting. And Michelle, I'm going to have you be the one that kicks us off today because you actually shared the same role as Lana. So you're actually going to be the quarterback of this episode. So I'm excited
lovely.
about that. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. This is going to be good. Can't wait.
Lana, we're excited to have you join us today. And the focus of today, of the conversation is, what I think we tend to drop the ball on sometimes when you could become let's say you pass your super fast start, maybe you're toward your triple crown, and becoming a veteran producer is just around the corner. But that mindset that we have to go through, right? Of what do I do now? I've got a book of business potentially coming up for renewal. So let's start with that, right? What is the biggest mindset shift that new associates have to kind of figure things out when they go from a new associate to a veteran producer?
So as far as a mindset is understanding how to position yourself when you're actually writing your accounts for your first time in your first year, you actually have to think about it earlier on than just the time of transition. You have to think about it when you open your account, the very beginning, and setting yourself up for that next year's enrollment.
Yeah, that mindset of the prep work, right? The systems we talk about, the post-enrollment side of things as well.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about like not overselling in your account that first year and actually setting yourself up. What does my next year look like and what product am I going to be offering next year, and positioning yourself to be able to go back in a second year instead of it just being a one-time enrollment. And then next year, what am I going to do? I've already, shot my wad.
Yeah. Hey, man. By the way, first time we had shot our wad on the podcast. I love it. Welcome, Lana. This is amazing. I think that's a good segue because we do talk about this all the time where, like, from a DSC perspective, they're like trying to close an account for a new associate and all they care about is like, I need to get this account closed so this person is a fireball, so then I get a bonus and they get a bonus and then hopefully they'll stay here. And then the other side of it is like a new associate, they're just like, please God, somebody say yes to me, and then they're like, yes, just I'm going to offer every product, and we're not thinking about the let's fast forward 13 months from now or 12 months from now. Are we going to be able to bring in a new product to get us better access? Do we have better enrollment conditions? So what would you say for the newer people that they can do to kind of get in that mindset and get into that like pattern early? Yeah.
So what I was trying to say is that it's not just product, it's also the value add. So from the very beginning, you'll always want to set up that access so that you're seeing everyone to sell what it is that you're enrolling that first year. But thinking about what am I going to add in the next year? How am I going to make this better next year so that I can get those additional sales from the same people as well as gain bigger interest from those who had not purchased the first time around? And so in my mind, I'm thinking asset management starts from the moment you open an account and that you start planning what do those future enrollments look like.
Yeah.
And then as you progress through the year, as Michelle was saying earlier, right, we're moving into the stages of asset management, and that is rolling into that next year. And how do I actually start preparing and setting myself up for those open enrollments? I have always had a system to where, there's kind of a quarterly service that is expected. And some accounts might even require monthly, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on the size of the account. But I would say that we want to start looking at how many times in a year am I touching this account so that I'm keeping that loyalty of that client throughout the year, and then start 90 days in advance of their open enrollment to start preparing what is that next new product we're going to offer, what does the marketing look like this year, and then you start that preparation at the 90-day mark.
I think coming from the position of a TAA, and I spent 2 years with you in that role, it's easy to think, okay, this is the steps to do A to Z kind of thing. We talked through from prospecting to opening a new account to post-enrollment. But Mike Cook said it very well. Like, when you're a new associate, I'm just trying to close an account. So like that
You're panicking a little bit, yeah.
You're panicking, and that stuff, as much as we talk about it from, territory, from market level, it tends to get pushed to the wayside so frequently that how do we get our new, because I talk about it in sales school too. Like, servicing is just as important as scheduling your appointment, because that's your renewals. But in the day-to-day, like, foot on the ground kind of scenario, what's I would say a good tip you can share with teams so they don't lose sight of servicing because they're so focused on just driving new accounts, you know what I mean? Because that happens frequently.
Yeah. So the one tip that I would share is that a lot of times we have just the return at the end of an enrollment. The post-enrollment, we're doing a return with the deduction summary, and sometimes we build the habit to do two, right? We're doing the actual billing and service in addition to the deductions. My recommendation would be to do yet a third, and that would be to do 2 service calls checking on the billing after an open enrollment so that you can actually set up the reoccurring auto draft, because we know that 93% of accounts that are on reoccurring auto draft have a much higher ratio of staying on the books. And so that's super important as a new agent to make sure that you're paying attention to those accounts not falling off as fast as they came on, because we've lost sight of that service work throughout the year to keep them on the books and to pay attention to them. So I have a system that I've provided to many new agents that helps with tracking how many service touches you do throughout a year. It's called an iCare summary sheet. And that sheet is one in which you document every time that you're doing a service and the type of service that you do. That would include claims, billing issues, asking for referrals, also new hire enrollments, that you're kind of keeping track of that so that you know when your next open enrollment is going to come on that account as well. So you're calendaring that 90 days.
Why don't you show us that? Because, we've talked about that in other meetings as well.
Yeah.
I think as a new associate, as you're building that book, because why do you join Aflac, right?
Renewals and
to make money, all of that, and to build those renewals. And we shared it out with our team previously at I forgot, it was a Build-A-Bench meeting, I believe.
Yeah, Lana shared this.
Because it's easy enough to follow this iCare, as you guys can see. I'm going to have Lana go through it.
Yeah, if you are on YouTube, by the way. So if you're driving, don't panic and don't crash. But check it out on YouTube later. And yeah, this is, but yeah, Lana, why don't you talk us through it, and maybe for the people that are driving, maybe visually be able to describe it.
So basically what this is it draws out every month of the year. And you document the account that you sold, how many employees you had available, how many did you see, how many did you sell, and what percentage of policyholder penetration did you have. That's super important because a lot of times we're always looking at the sales, the dollar amount. I sold $5,000, but maybe the opportunity was $8,000. If you look at it from a 60% average penetration in most of our accounts. And so by not looking at the the actual dollar amount and paying attention to the percentage, we know whether or not we're getting access, and access automatically turns into money.
I could tell you for a fact, I mean, I'll give one region a shout out of like for the Shark Tank region, for example, on accounts that they close, their policyholder penetration is insanely high. Their AP per person is high. But what I love about this sheet that you're showing is I think that over the years, we've kind of taken our eye off the ball of like, there's in this example, it's like, okay, if there's 12 employees, 11 of them were seen, 8 of them were sold. It's a 66% policyholder penetration, which is great. We have a ton of accounts in our book that 20 employees, 1 person on the books.
Yeah.
Correct.
19 employees, 200 people, 200 employees.
It's unfortunate.
3.
There's a lot. Yeah.
And we aren't focusing in this area. So I love the fact that this is actually, that's keeping it in front of us. Also on the right side, I'll let you talk about that because I love that too.
Yeah. So the one thing that we see in our book, those low policyholder penetrations, they may have been 60% when we started and now we've dropped. But when I look at new accounts opened in the book, which we would expect to have those higher percentages, we are actually seeing lower percentages than expected at the onset of a brand new account. And that's because we aren't paying attention to the opportunity and the amount of people seen versus what's available.
Yeah, that kind of hits a different note, though, of let's say a 20-man group and they only get 3. It comes down to the setup of the decision-maker conversation, because that's where servicing gets set up, too.
Right.
It's not after the enrollment. It's at the very beginning when you're having a conversation with a business owner and trying to figure out what the value that you're bringing and what we can drive will help that policyholder penetration go up. Because
Right.
they see the value for what it does for the business as well. So we definitely have a few of those conversations, especially in sales school. So definitely keep that in front of our team.
Well, and it's also a great shout out to all the coordinators that are asking for, well, how much did you sell on that 20 life? And they say 3,000, and you write that down towards your number for the week, and you don't even ask the question, how come you only got to 3,000, and is there any way we could get back in there to get more?
Yeah.
Right? And try to fix it right in the moment that it happened.
Yeah. Great coaching conversation right there.
Yeah, these are areas that without drilling into it, I feel like even in the last few years, I got away from it because it's just, you're like, oh, good job. You got an account. Good job. You got an account. Instead of really talking about the profitability here. And if we get the profitability right and, also just setting up new hires. I mean, long term, new hires is that gift that keeps on giving.
My computer shut down earlier.
Struggling to connect with business owners? The Site Seller gives you the facts, talking points, and solutions you need right at your fingertips. Build trust, show value, and close deals with confidence. Site Seller, where conversations turn into partnerships.
Brand new associates, you can start by doing this. This is just a good habit to start in the very beginning because trust me, I'm one of the people on the wrong side of this where I was like, oh, I'll start caring about my clients when I have 20 of them, or I'll start doing a better job of servicing and setting up these systems when I have 30 new clients. The time to do it is when you have 3 and or 2 and 1. If you start it right out of the gate, it's a habit that you can just start building out right away.
Yeah. And, actually, I want to reiterate a point that you said earlier, that tip, right, of, in this, I'm wondering if we can add like a box for a reoccurring draft, in there
We
as
could
well.
add it to the R's, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Third R.
Yeah. As a side note, because I think that's actually a really good tip of when you set up your post-enrollment, your meeting, in that meeting, you make sure you have a date for your first invoice reconciliation and then a second month to make sure that reoccurring draft gets set up. Because how many times our new associates work so hard for new appointments and to close that group for them to forget to follow up afterwards and then lose that account.
Yeah. And it's not, honestly, I don't even blame the new associate a lot of times. They're juggling so many different things. I don't blame it's truthfully, it's not leveraging a system like this. And 92% stick with you if you do the recurring auto draft. I wrote that down.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a big number.
It's huge. That's a huge, huge number. One other one I just wanted to highlight, Lana, that we were just talking about was just the other tools that we have in the toolbox, because a lot of times it is difficult to remember, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So before we talk about like income planning and stuff like that, you also said this, Michelle, the scope of work agreement right out of the gate is establishing the right habits. And if you are a DSC or a CIT and you're like, oh, you know what, like, I don't know if I have the scope of work every time, don't worry, we already know that you don't, because we would have more defined contribution and no pays would be lower. But that's a easy one. What's another just a tool that you've seen that new people can have that or leverage that will make sure that they are on the right side of asset management?
Outside of the income planner?
Outside of yeah,
Or with it. I mean, the income planner is a good tool.
Yeah, income planning, service. The other one I was going to bring up was the service agreement or service. But I mean, that's a huge one too, which is like,
Yeah, actually, people using it, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Well, let's ask, because we have you here. So, Texas North versus LA. So. How does Texas do they leverage the service agreement pretty well? How did they do on post enrollment overall?
Yeah, so I would say this service agreement is definitely used on the back end as, you know, it's a tool as well as scope of work. I would say they don't do any better job than LA is doing. We all could use a little more of what we know we need to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're definitely not using either of them as much as we need to.
Okay, yeah, that makes me feel moderately better. Okay, cool.
Well, the goal is to, for our team is, if it's something that all these tools, the iCare, the, TCLM, monthly income planner, scope of work, site seller, all these tools that we have, you just need to use or practice with it just to get 1% better every day.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Like, choose one. If you're a new associate, practice using the site telling the scope of work. And now as you're adding to your book, let's say you close 2 accounts, pull out that iCare and track it. If you need to print a hard copy, just let your regional or market office view will print those all out. But just start. Don't shy away from it. I think it's a big thing, because they're like, oh, I don't know how to use it and so forth. Ask more than anything.
Yep.
There's so many tools that you can leverage in there.
And getting 1% better. I agree with that.
Well, and even the service guide, the administrative guide on the back end is part of that delivery process. There are some regions that do really good job that they have one booklet brought to every client they have, and they leverage that because there is a section in there that asks about the new hires. So if you're forgetting and not using the scope of work, at least there's another reminder there to help get you back onto track when you go through that book.
Yeah.
So page 8, everybody, page 8.
Page 8,
That's the
big one.
administrative guide. I have it memorized.
Yeah, no,
That's also
new
in the vault,
hires.
so.
Quarterly visits are built into it. Referrals are built into
referrals.
it. Those are those things where it's like, there's a lot to remember, but also there's, if you're leveraging, the iCare scope of work and the, administrative guide service agreement, you're good. So let's talk about, now we are transitioning into, we've been here for a year. We're moving from new associate to veteran. We say veteran, except, that you're still new. You're still learning. So one of the tools that we wanted to talk about, and then I want to just change it over to just advice that you have, but we did talk about the income planner. So there's the on CCLM, and I'm not the best CCLM advocate, but the income planner I think is a game changer because it does keep your accounts in front of you. It keeps you 30, 60, 90 days, and it's easy to plug in dates. Can you talk us through that? And maybe,
Sure.
Again, if you're driving, don't crash your car. You could pull over or just watch it on YouTube later. But this should be a very practical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we're going to use somebody, Amanda Reisner. You're out of our state and you're a friend of the show and you work your accounts. Thank you, Amanda. You're the best.
So the one thing I want to mention the most about the income planner is not so much as tracking your accounts, but tracking your goals. I mean, that's generally what this document was for, was to know, okay, this is what I want to do in a given month. This is what I want to do in a year, and have your goals all lined up so that this monthly income planning actually gets you to the annual goal that you're looking for. And so what it does is it actually works the numbers backwards for you. So if you're entering in, hey, I need to make this much per month to make my annual goal, or to make that annual trip that you want to make to Ireland or Greece or wherever you want to go, you've got a plan and you want to make a certain amount of money. This is a great way to help figure out how to get to that income goal. That's what it's designed for.
Can you type in maybe, I don't know, $5,000, something like that for an income goal, and then I think tab there. Oh yeah, there we go. And then the AP goal automatically shows it.
Yes.
That's magic.
Yes.
No, I love this one. And then it does show accounts. It does allow you to put in your renewal meeting dates and all of that good stuff. On the bottom, I know that she has a ton of accounts because she's amazing.
So let's
I
scroll,
do.
scroll,
Do they?
scroll.
Yeah. Not doing bad, Amanda. Yeah, just keep swimming. It also shows inactive.
I was going to say, it shows your active accounts, then
Okay, there you go.
your dormant accounts, and then your lapse canceled.
Yeah,
Yes.
which I love about
Yeah,
that
it
too.
does
So
categorize it. Yeah.
yeah, so then
Sorry, I scrolled so fast,
no,
I
that was
missed
good
that.
because on your lapse canceled, you were like, okay, let's give those ones a call.
Yeah.
So this just allows you to be really proactive in your book of business. And then I think on the very bottom, does it just have regular notes? Like if you
Prospects?
and prospects. Okay.
Right. So as you're determining what your income goal is, you have so many accounts in your book that you're going to pull from for existing. Not all of them you're going to write business in every year. Some of them might be already 100% penetrated or whatever that might be. So you do know that from time to time, you're going to also lose accounts. So you kind of have these AP headwinds that you have to overcome. So there's a prospect section at the bottom because we know we're going to be looking for new accounts to increase our book of business as well as replace lost ones and those accounts that may be highly penetrated. So we definitely want to make sure we're four-corner marketing around our existing accounts, which makes it really easy to kill two birds with one stone, right? We're hitting one geographic area to open both new and service our existing, and that makes it so much easier from a drive perspective to get everything done in a day.
Amen. And I heard that gas costs a lot of money. Yeah, so that helps.
Gas prices definitely are supporting that strategy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a really good part about this prospect, so if you are actually leveraging CCLM and actually using it where you're entering your leads and you're moving them along the bullseyes, right, as a lead, you can actually know if a district to a region can pull that up and you can actually see and project. Because you, like you said, monthly goal, you can put in projections based on as you're moving it along and see if you're going to hit your next award or not. So you're not going in blindly into things.
Yeah.
You're actually leveraging, knowing your numbers is a real thing if you can figure out how to use this monthly income planner.
Yeah, I big fan of it. Final one I'll say is for all the new people that are moving into veteran status, it keeps your VIP in front of you, which I really like. That automatically populates for you, so you know exactly where you're at. And again, it's something that it's once a month, but I mean, you can literally click into accounts and call from there, which is pretty cool. And again, you guys know that I don't always talk about CCLM or ever talk about it, but this is my favorite tool by far. I love it. I've used it forever. So
yeah, I encourage you guys, if you haven't already looked into it, but just go into your CCLM. The monthly income planner is on the left-hand side, and you can do this, again, once a month and set some goals in place and actually have a system to plug in your data with it. If you're a brand new associate, it's just going to show up in your prospects, but as you close accounts, they will start showing up in here as well. So when you do move into a veteran status, you guys can see on the screen, it does show your VIP, and it does show you your new account. So you've got like pretty much like a digital version of your iCare, along with being able to keep stuff from previous months and so forth to keep you on track for your goals, which is pretty cool. So if you are a new associate, right, moving into your second or going into your third year and you have a book, this is a great tool to leverage to kind of keep those in front of you as well.
Yep. And final thing, and then we'll stop talking about this but you can change also the month, which is pretty cool. So you can look forward. And, this is, again, valuable on FBOB when we do that and you're calling your actual book of business. And the accounts will actually correlate for the actual month. So that's amazing stuff. So, all right, Lana, now I want you to have the talk with us that you have with people that are transitioning from that associate to the veteran status. So they're moving into, they move out of the New Agent Success Bonus Awards and their Triple Crown Awards and all that stuff into having a quarterly goal, and having, VIP kickers and all this stuff. But what's that conversation look like? What should they be focused on as they're moving into this in their first year, or moving from their first year into their second year?
So I would say education never stops, right? So being 1 year in, you still have several years of education. You always look at, I've always looked at an agent as being in kind of like our own little Aflac college, right?
Yeah.
You have to be in it for so many years before things really start getting easier and you start building that book of business. So one of the great things that we have available is the on-demand to help with that skill set and to remind yourself of the things that maybe you don't even know are available to help you increase your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would always say going into the veteran category of on-demand and start looking at those different items that are available to help with that.
That's a great one. And yeah, we have great people, even Kevin, who was on the podcast. He has recordings. It's
Yes. Shout out Kevin Lorenzen. Clarity builds confidence. That's why every enrollment starts with a scope of work agreement, a simple way to align expectations, timelines, and responsibilities between the agent and business owner. Scope of work, clear commitments, smoother enrollments, stronger partnerships.
There's also, in addition to that, we have a veteran playbook, which also is another part of advancing your education and getting to that next step. And so within that playbook, there are downloadable documents that have clickable links within them. And each one of those downloadable items target areas like open enrollment planning. And, it'll have one that's specific for, I'm trying to think of all the resources that we have. I think there's 6 of them, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And each one has the clickable links that relate to that particular category. And so I would say that veteran playbook is important as well. It's a tool, right, that we provide our new veterans as well as our existing vets. So if you're listening and you're an existing vet and you have never heard of that playbook, this would be something that you're definitely going to want to look at as well, because there could be something in there you could benefit from.
That is actually a pretty good playbook. When it first came out a couple years ago, I actually watched all the videos for it as well. Well, just because, I'm a firm believer, like, if we're going to talk through something, I kind of want to know what it is in it.
And make sure it's good.
And make sure, because each market and what, you focus on, you want to make sure anything you push out is going to align to what the market is focusing on too. So, but it is great content, and Aflac On Demand's got a lot of those best practice videos outside of just what's for the veterans, right? That you can leverage if there are some areas of the business that you're trying to pick up and get more comfortable with as well.
And there's a calendar of training in there as well each year that it comes out. So they do have
that's awesome
trainings that you can participate in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I also love that a lot of the trainings, even if you're doing the live virtual ones, they have them at 7 a.m. our time, which is nice for us. So, yeah.
You're not miss field time.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. And, one mistake that I've made a lot is I almost shy away from the word servicing a lot of the times, because I had certain people that maybe I led early on in my career that they used it as a crutch to not go aggressively after their goals and not go after like, hey, I need to hit my new account goals and stuff like that. And they were so focused on servicing that they just really didn't actually get into business. What I like is what you've said today, Lana, is like start from the beginning of when you're actually closing business. That's when you set up your service expectations, and it also will help you drive more business. It'll let you do four corner marketing. It'll let you get referrals, and it's all symbiotic. And it just, the best time to do it is starting now. And also, like you said, just do 1% better. So
It's every day, right?
Yeah.
Doing something every single day. I did want to, as we're talking that, I think we're distinguishing between a new and associate and a veteran because that's how it's categorized, but not losing sight of, regardless of whether you're a new associate or a veteran 53 weeks and above, like there's always an opportunity to bonus, especially in the comp side of things. And because they think, okay, this is, even though we talk about it all the time, sometimes it doesn't register like, oh, now that I'm done with my all-stars, like, now what do I do? And then losing sight that opening new accounts still drags a way for you to bonus because you have your pinnacle status that you can move up in as well. So talk us through like some of that compensation coming into a veteran, some of the plus signs, right? When you go into your second and third year.
Yeah, so I don't know. During kickoff, I actually did a presentation that showed the advantages of the different pinnacle statuses as well as hitting more than one VIP and stacking those VIPs. And I think that's probably the biggest overlooked opportunity as you move from, into that status is knowing the value of the continual hits of VIP. I had shown even, right? And we know there are several pinnacle statuses. We have our gold, we have our platinum, gold being 100,000, 500,000 for platinum, and then the million for the diamond members. And a lot of times it's overlooked that being a gold or a platinum, that the goal is to get to diamond. And it is. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you can't have a high paycheck and bonus that far outweighs that status just because you took the time in the gold to hit the 4 VIPs. And so during kickoff, I did show where someone in gold status was making more money in bonus than a platinum just because they hit 4 for 4 and the platinum hit only 1.
Yeah.
And therefore, just that small detail, even though the goal is to always get to that next level and grow your career, it doesn't mean that you overlook your opportunities at the time that you're at that gold status and getting started, moving into those pinnacle statuses. So
it's huge.
Yeah, you definitely, you can win.
Yeah, the 4 for 4 is huge.
Yeah, I remember from kickoff, hopefully I have these numbers correct, but I think it was a difference of, one person getting 6,000, another person getting like 19,000, or it was that dramatically different of going that 4 for 4, which is huge. And that's just, spreading also and just making sure that you're hitting it every single quarter. It's a big deal.
And especially if you are, in that position, you're going into your second year, knowing what those goals are, if they're achievable goals, even if that you're moving towards and building your career, right, residuals and so forth, getting to close to 100 grand, that 35 and 2, you're continuing to add to that. So you're building your career, you're building your book, you're building your renewals. And the idea of moving from gold to platinum, that's your renewals. That's your passive income that you're growing outside of the bonuses that you're getting on top of that too.
Right.
So I think sometimes we lose sight of, we're looking at one thing, as you're saying, versus looking at the big picture overall.
Yeah. And think about it. There are very few people that hit 4 for 4 that don't hit their annual bonus. So remember, you've got both. You get quarterly bonus, you get annual bonus. If you're doing 1 out of 4, the chances of you hitting your annual bonus is wiped out. I mean, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. No, then you're playing from behind.
But if if your goal is 4 for 4 and you're hitting those small hits continually, hitting that annual is, as close as it could be.
Exactly.
So now you've just added a whole nother bonus to the quarterlies.
And dental and vision counts toward that bonus as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so that was awesome, and I actually wrote stacking VIPs because I think we should name this podcast or this episode stacking VIPs because I just love the concept and I love taking Aflac bonus money.
I think we had over 20 veterans last year that only hit 1 out of 4.
Yeah, it's just painful.
Even if they just doubled that and did 2 for 4, the bonus money is significantly higher with 2 than it is with 1. Or taking it from that 1 to 4, if all of those people just concentrated on hitting those extra 3 that were missed.
Yeah, and I think what you said earlier is look at it like we're in Aflac College, where we're saying veterans, but a lot of you are in your 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, and you're still pushing and working your ass off. And this is, you deserve this. And I think that the biggest mistake that Aflac sometimes makes when they say, oh, you're a veteran now, it innately makes you like exhale a little bit where you're like, oh, good, now I can take the foot off the gas. No. Actually, yeah, your first
you're in your first year.
Yeah, just keep that foot on that gas. You're in California, keep it on the gas till year 4, and then you can exhale. But
yeah, don't lose sight just because like the title. When we talk about title and all the time, and you're in, instead of actually doing the work to be in that title, you just take your foot off the gas, as you're saying, and like, oh, I've arrived, and expect nothing to change. And you're like, wait a second, you still have to grow this career into something that is profitable for you. So don't lose sight. And I think we can also do a better job of keeping it in front of them as well.
Yeah.
For some,
I want to do, going through this with you, Lana, it's like, I want to be better at this. This is absolutely. I know that we should have you on this a million more times now. This is amazing.
No worries. Lana's gonna be back again and again to help us out.
Thank God.
Not losing in our book of business this year.
Yes, thank God, and we are still up because of you, Lana. So thank you. So we do a rapid fire round. The rapid fire round is just us throwing random questions at you really quickly.
Fun.
So good times. So first one, I always love to hear. What is the one book that you've recommended or given or gifted the most?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Ooh, great one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, classic. And weirdly, I don't think we've heard that one. That's a great one.
So my favorite question for the year: if your stress was a mascot, what would it be?
My stress?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. I do not know.
As a huge duck is lingering over your head. It's
I don't think of stress when I think of animals, I guess.
Well, if I'm going to say animal, just like a...
Aren't they usually mascots?
Yeah, usually.
Okay. I take it
That
back.
could be a cowboy or something. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something with claws.
Yeah.
We've had some very interesting responses to that question.
A sloth. the nicest.
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Oh, Wolverine.
Yeah,
That's good.
Okay.
Okay, my last one is just this could be any just ask from the team or takeaway or anything like that you would ask from our team. So what's one thing that you'd say, hey guys, I either want you to do this or for them to take away from this episode with you?
So I think I would ask for everybody to take time every week to quiet the noise around you, because I think too many times we allow everything that's going on, just the hurriness, I got to get here, I got to do this, I got to do that. Sometimes it blocks our ability to be able to focus on something and accomplish it. And so I would say stop the whirlwind weekly and focus and concentrate on your list of things that need to get done and actually take the time to do them in that quiet time.
That's amazing.
That's great advice. Quiet the noise.
Yeah. I'll do that. I was like, I need to actually get back to doing some better proactive.
Great example. I was trying when I was in my office, 5 things running.
Yeah.
I was like, I just need to finish one of these.
Yeah,
things.
finish one.
My computer shut down earlier. I had so many things running on it at once, it wouldn't even move.
Yeah, it's like
So I mean, I can take my own advice. I need to take my own advice.
Yeah, well,
But it is something that I think we all just get so caught up in the whirlwind of the things that are going on around us that we just don't focus and accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Yeah, well said.
Agreed. Absolutely. Lana, this has been just fantastic. And good news is you are our territory asset analyst, so we get to do this again and again and again and steal you. But no, I want to personally thank you for what you've already instilled inside of our team and our organization, because we are beginning to finally win in our existing book. And I know that we'll continue to get better. We haven't, honestly, I don't even think we started doing good yet, but we're doing better. But I think that this is a huge step. And for our people that are just moving in that veteran status, or even some of the veterans that want to just reinvigorate their own career, this is like a huge step. So thank you for sharing some of your wisdom with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
That was awesome.
Lana, I'm going to echo Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today. And a lot of great takeaways of making sure that if putting some systems in early, right, and leveraging the tools, whether it's the iCare, tracker, or the scope of work, to make sure we're setting things up, or even the service guide, right, and setting up your post-enrollment. More importantly, is that second meeting you're talking about for the reoccurring draft. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
So everybody listening, don't think short term. Build a business that lasts. Protect your assets, serve your clients, and leverage the tools available to help you grow. Thanks for tuning into the LA Legends, where motivation meets practical thinking for the next legends in LA South. We'll see you guys in the next episode.